everybody. Hey guys, this is Janice Hughes.
Hi.
I am Jim Chester, and this is the Chiro Hustle live stream from Mile High Chiropractic. This is the 6th year. Can you believe that?
Yeah, number six, and I met Jim on number 1.
Right? And you know, the evolution of genius within all of us can be unleashed if we just allow ourselves to be seen.
Yeah, absolutely. And what Jim's doing, what social media is doing, is now sharing a little bit more about Mile High with all of you. Even though you're not here, which I don't suggest that, but I think it's amazing that you can see some of the great things happening.
And
We're just replugging in.
faux pas of the day. So I had a microphone faux pas with you, Janice. I apologize.
It's quite okay.
But that's the thing of show business, is the show goes on.
We go on.
And that's the thing. It might even be a good metaphor for chiropractic, is when people finish school, they think that it's automatic success, and they don't plan for that type of thing.
Well, you know, they don't know what they don't know, because through school. So for students that are here this weekend, but for students listening, let's face it, so much about life and business and practice success.
Hi, Dan Lamberger. We're watching you live in the conference right now. That's how cool this is.
But a lot of times you don't know because things are out of context. Is he? Yeah, you're supposed to be watching. You're supposed to be paying attention to Donnie Epstein on stage. But what happens is a lot during school is out of context. When we come in, I go into Life University. Some of us go to Life West, Sherman College. But so often your focus is on school, boards, all those things, and they're really important. So some of the business things or the life success things we talk about are out of context at that point. But the challenge is that's what's going to determine your ultimate success in your life. You have a practice, you have a business so that it can fuel your life. You don't need more stress. You've already had enough as a student. So conferences like this, and then even if you're not here learning about these principles, like, again, you guys have access, they could have access to the DVDs, to the program. So, there's just so many things that Mile High is doing for you as a student. And for doctors as well. We're not just here to talk about students.
No, but there's success principles here that are being talked about, things that they might not get in school.
Absolutely.
And they get a chance to meet people like you, myself, and all the other amazing people under this one roof.
Yeah.
But they get a chance to meet people that are actually figuring out where the profession's going.
Yeah. There is a lot here this weekend about where are we headed? What is the future of chiropractic? I was very fortunate to speak at the LCW, the Legion of Chiropractic Women Luncheon, where you were there. So Jim was our token man at the women's luncheon. But I had a chance to talk about my vision is to transform the role of women in chiropractic. And Danny and Rochelle Knowles are such huge advocates and supporters of that. Obviously they've put women on stage right from their first program. Every year that builds and grows. I have to tell you that their program this morning was spectacular. They had a mix of male and females this morning, some names that some of you out there may have never heard of, and I use the word yet because they were off the charts. They're that good.
And they were talking about research.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that most people are kind of afraid of. They want to get into the trench and they want to build their practice. They want to build their office, and they want to just kind of serve their little island, as I like to say. But when we have people out there that dedicate their life's work to building the research that supports the profession, that's how the profession moves forward.
Yeah, that's what's magic about what we do. There is so much science. Sometimes you just haven't been exposed to it. Again, the word is yet. Mile High is bringing a lot of that under the same roof. New speakers, different speakers, business, success, but a lot of amazing science. So people walk away with this level of confidence and certainty. It's really quite spectacular.
And the chiropractic world that I have learned to love is the check, the correct, the adjust, the vertebral subluxation. And that's what all these chiropractors at Mile High 6 are doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, as I've gotten to know you, I've seen what you've done inside and outside the profession. And now you're bringing those success principles back into
Yeah.
the chiropractic space?
Yeah, absolutely. I've spent just over 8 years out in the business world, in biotech, involved in a startup, helping raise over $200 million for keeping ourselves private, learning some business and life principles that I really want to share with chiropractors. The sad statistic, and this isn't just for chiropractic, but 87% of businesses are not positioned for a sale. So that's not even about your day-to-day receivables, cash flow, business challenges. The reality is so many chiropractors, some of you out there with even really great practices, 87% or more, I think chiropractors are a little more, your practices, your biggest asset that you've been building is not positioned for sale. And so working with biotech, working with executives and business people and a lot of unbelievable business women, I've learned so much that I would like to instill that now in all the chiropractors.
Yeah, and the way that you can teach is by experience. And those that learn the things to teach other people, they build programs around that. And I know I was going to ask you next question, what's next for you? Because I know you have some things that you're working on.
Yeah, absolutely. So over the last year, I created a few online money courses, things to help people with their money mindset, their money consciousness. I am always happy for students to come up with a very special price for students on that. I put together some masterminds, but I'm really actually passionate. My next project is to inspire women. And I just have decided that my role, kind of the stake in the ground, is transforming the role of women in the profession. And I love so many of the different groups and programs that we have. The challenge is I see us becoming as disjointed as so many other associations and things in chiropractic. So it's almost like I've decided that we're going to do a rally up call for women and just find ways, not because I have answers, but because there are such unbelievable women that we want to support and expose. I have some coaching knowledge. I've coached outside of the profession, and I want to bring some of that now. I used to coach in the profession, but then I've been gone for a long time. So I want to put together some free resources and also then some other coaching programs. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Well, that's amazing. And, I'm really excited to rekindle our friendship here. I know it's been a while since we've seen each other, but I do watch some of the stuff that you do with your Facebook Lives, and I learn from you too.
Likewise.
So, we're only that close. So how are you going to start implementing this program, and how are you going to get people involved with you?
Well, the word I like to use that I learned from some really smart business women is the word collaboration. Mm-hmm. And I'm not about starting something different that isn't connected with existing groups. So one of the first things that I am going to do is put together a really strong women's mastermind, pulling the leaders from a number of the different groups and things that are out there. And we're just going to start to figure out how to build a new sandbox. On top of that, I'm going to be launching in October membership component. I'd like to be able to instill some of these principles in the young women in the profession, sometimes before you think you're ready for a coach, and or sometimes before you can afford it. Ultimately, I'd really love that some students could be part of the membership site, so that we've got a really safe place at a low price point initially for you to learn. So that's going to launch this fall, and then 2019, we've got some really exciting programs and things we're going to be talking about too.
And because something she said to me just really resonated with me, because it's not about how much money we make, it's about how much service we provide.
Yes.
And then the value exchange is there. And when people see that they're actually growing from being in that group, they're going to say, wow, this is not only affordable, but it's effective.
Yeah.
And I think that's really where the puck is going, is people want to know, if I'm going to invest in something, as we were talking off camera, if I'm going to invest in something, I want to see how this can actually help my career grow. And it's not about taking money from people. It's about providing a service for them that they will actually value because the exchange is there.
But what's also important to understand is that the exchange does matter. What I've found is that I have taken a couple of people under my wing, no different than in practice where we gifted our service to certain people, and usually they complained the most and or got no results. And without some skin in the game, without putting a price on a course, on a program, without paying with your time, you have to be willing to put some work in. Now, I'm not saying it's hard, you just have to be willing to commit. So it's figuring out that natural balance because, again, you want returns, but you also have to be willing to put in your own money, time, and energy to make that happen.
100%. I couldn't have said it better than you because I know I've seen so many people come and go in the chiropractic profession with what they think is the right thing for the next person. But unless somebody really resonates with it and they're willing to do the work with the program, it's not going to work for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't even care if you have the best coach under the sun. If you don't do the action steps that are necessary for you to get to that next step, you could have the best mentor in the world, but if you don't take that and put it and become doer, if you don't do the things that are necessary, you could pay $10,000 and still end up with an empty bucket.
Yeah, it's self-responsibility, taking the time, committing, and then doing the work. So it's about action. One of the things for me, the coaching model for me includes intention, action, and attraction. So the intention is that mindset or the work, the mental work you do. It has to be coupled with congruent actions, and then that attractability happens. So it's definitely this cycle, but you have to, it's up to you. It's up to me. So I joke that my husband, I still hire coaches all the time in my life, and at times I have multiple coaches. So my husband will be like, really? You don't know this stuff yet? And so I look at him and I laugh and I say, one of two things. This stuff either does take a lifetime or I'm just incredibly slow. Now, I'm going to reframe that because my hope is that I'm just very coachable. And if I can learn from other people, then that's what I want to do. But I still have to put the work in. I had to figure out, we through our biotech had such an unbelievable burn rate, and it was on my shoulders to raise those dollars. Without me raising dollars, I knew that the people in the company didn't get paid, and more importantly, the project did not come to fruition.
So basically, the way that I see everything working with you is I look forward to seeing your program open up starting 2019 and seeing how the mentorship of the business mindset and how the money mindset will help shift some people into the better perspective of saying, you know what? I am enough. I just need somebody to give me a little bit of a guidance. And I think that that's the most beautiful thing about mentorship. As I've gotten older, I realize that there's so many people that follow what I do and they listen to what I have to say, and that they want to emulate what it means to be like a journalist. But the real matter of it is success will always leave clues. So if you see somebody successful that has obviously been in the trenches for years and had the experience, and now when you open up the program for people, what does that look like? I mean, how long does somebody look to work with you?
Well, I mean, we can go through all of that at another time.
Sure.
I think the thing that spurred in my mind when you were just saying that is I really want to reinforce that that's exactly what happens at Mile High. There are unbelievable mentors and coaches and guides and speakers and
So many people.
What Danny and Rochelle have done in pulling this together and building this and growing this. It is really special.
It's special.
And, again, obviously this year is really magical to be here with everything that they've gone through as a family, but there are really incredible people involved at this site and with future programs of this. So, if anything, and I'm happy to talk about all the other stuff and my projects, but this is really about Mile High and come. Any of you watching and listening that aren't here, put it on your calendar. There's really magical things that are happening.
And just know that if it wasn't for the work that Danny and Rochelle put in, we wouldn't be connected.
Absolutely. We met at the first Mile High. I've met so many other incredible people, and the connections and the after interactions that happen. It's really wonderful.
The magic happens in the big room. but also the secondary magic happens in the hallways.
Yeah, that's always been the case. Yes, I was one of the head coaches for the Master Circle for years, and we used to laugh about the seminar in the hall.
So actually, if you guys want to know a secret, I don't actually go into the big room. I spend all my time in the hallways, meeting people, doing the interviews, building relationships, because relationships are built when you pay attention to people. And when you ask people engaging questions and you're interested in them and you're curious. And that's the beautiful thing about the interview process is I might not know everything about that person, but if I ask them the right things, they tell people what needs to be heard.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about the communication process, whether it's the first one I did or the 470th one I've done. It's about getting to know people where they are and sharing their story.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you guys didn't make it to Mile High 6, I urge you guys to buy the ticket today. If you go to the website, they have a dynamite discount. I don't even know what it is, but Liam Schubel told me about this discount that they have. And if you guys go to Mile High website today, schedule in for next year. And like Liam Schubel said, if you guys wanted to go to your sister's wedding and it meant that much to you, you'd put it on your calendar and you'd make it a priority and you would show up.
Absolutely.
So if Mile High is something you want to make it to next year, put it on your calendar, make it a priority, buy your ticket today at discount, and show up next year.
Absolutely.
And that's year number 7. This is year number 6. Janice, I want to thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I'm going to close out.
Absolutely.
Just like every other time, just knowing that your story matters, Janice's story matters, my story matters, your story matters, and you're just one story away. Keep hustling. We'll see you guys on the next live stream. Thank you for being with us all weekend. We'll see you at Mile High 7. Goodbye.